we knew we didn't want to be party promoters, and but we were selling, we were selling merch as well.
For sure,
we don't want to be party promoters. We don't want to be, fashion designers.
Right.
So we were like, how can we be more influential and be more constructive? So what we did was we had a friend, rest in peace. His name was King Rowe. Okay. So he was a barber. He was like, well, I can cut, kids' hair, and then y'all can come in and kind of just, give them motivational talks. So he's like, all right, bet. So that started our haircuts for kids.
Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Motto podcast. I always have a special guest, but today I got a baller on here in which I met through basketball. That's one of our first time meeting, but we could tend to have conversations whenever we see each other on a regular. We just jump into conversation. We actually just seen each other over summer, end up indulging in like a 30, 45-minute conversation as we was walking, which was great. So the intellect is there. He's a very intellectual individual. He's the co-founder of the Young Enterprising Society. That also provides STEAM programming. He was Milwaukee Biz Journal's 40 Under 40. Yep. He was also Wisconsin's 275 most influential business leaders. He's a 03-04 state champion from Rufus King under the legendary Jim Goss. Yep. And he's also the host of the Leaf with Legends podcast. Please welcome Khalif El-Amin to the What's Your Motto podcast.
Man, my dog, man. It's a pleasure. It's an honor being on here, man. I'm excited for this conversation.
Listen, man, I haven't been doing nothing but hearing great things about you. Like I just was telling you off script. Keon, shout out to Keon Whitley. He was just raving about you, man. Just about how smart you were. You playing with them, you being a cerebral player, and just being an authentic individual. Like, and that's somebody I still talk to on a regular, and he was just vouching for you, like, oh, you having him on the pod? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So shout out to Kibo for the love, man. Shout out to Kibo for the love. So how you doing today?
Man, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Life is good, man. We survived that cold. So,
oh my gosh.
So
the Hawk.
The Hawk was there earlier this week, but life is good, man. It's a good weekend. Kids are good. Life is good, man. Can't complain.
Okay, and I know I appreciate you making time because I know when we were trying to schedule it, you were saying like the kids and stuff like that. They got you running around.
Yeah, for sure, man. Daughter's in gymnastics. Okay. Son, he's playing ball now. So,
okay.
WYBL. So he figuring it out. He figured it out. So I like it because like he loves it now. You know what I mean? It's not like Pops was pushing him to get to it. You know what I mean? It's like now he's asking me, Daddy, can we go to the WAC? Can we get some shots?
Beautiful.
Work? You know what I mean? So like, it's cool. Like I love it. Being a former basketball player myself, to have your son,
yes,
like be involved and really be locked in like that. Like it's dope.
And what grade is he now?
He's in fifth.
He's in fifth grade. Yeah, my son in fifth grade too. Yep. So you like 10?
Yep, 10.
Yep.
In June. Yep.
What does it feel like to see him like develop?
Man,
from the father standpoint and the hooping standpoint.
From a father standpoint, it's great.
Right.
It's great, man. I mean, just to see like a lot of the values, the hard work, the work ethic, just some of the things that he's seen, me do.
Right.
And see it just translate into him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, the attention to detail, the competitiveness. He got
fired.
Oh, what? Man, he's super competitive. So like, I love that. You know what I mean? At this age, it's about, learning the game,
right?
Loving the game,
right?
And then learning how to compete too,
right.
You know what I mean? I think that's what get lost. A lot of trainers and whatnot. They're great with the cone work and all that stuff. But it's like at the end of the day, these are still kids. They're still young. So like you still gotta show them and teach them how to actually how to win.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And be patient with them, right?
Be patient with it. Yep. So yeah. So it's great, man. I mean, mm-hmm. just and coaching for so long myself, I try to. It's hard to be like coach and father, you know what I mean? So like, it's a very intricate dynamic that you gotta. It's a thin line that you gotta teeter on because it's like my competitiveness comes out too sometimes, but then I gotta remember he only 10.
Right.
Where was I when I was 10? You get what I'm saying? So like, just being very empathetic and putting myself in his shoes. So
Dude,
it's dope though.
I feel all of that.
Yeah.
So just thinking about that. So like, last question about that. So like, when you in the car on the way home, are you having conversations?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm not the type. I'm not gonna, I cheer for all his teammates.
Right.
You know, I'm not the type that's just gonna film when he's in the game. Right. Filming the whole game. You know what I mean? But like, I'm taking notes. You know, mentally, either that's like on the actual note app or like mentally, so that I can bring that up to him. Right. You know, behind closed doors, so to speak. Right. But like, I'm not that parent that's gonna, be yelling and
screaming, like, getting into it with the coach.
Man, they're 10. Let them have fun. Let them make mistakes.
Right.
The mistakes. They'll figure it out.
It's all about the basics right now.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So like, we had those talks, and I know my son well enough to know when the time to have those talks. You know what I mean? Like
not right after.
So some games, like last week. Like he had his best 2 games. Like they played 2 games Sunday morning. Okay. And he played his best 2 games I've ever seen him play.
Okay.
Ever.
Put it together.
What? Offense and defense, competitive, talking, helping his teammates up off the ground. Like it wasn't just the skills, you know what I mean? It was like all the other stuff.
All around.
He was just a great teammate.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everything kind of translated into his game. Mm-hmm. So after those games, I was able to have a little.
It's a lot easier
right away. But the week before, they kind of got ran at a little bit. So I had to wait till we got some food a little, and then I
gotta warm him up.
Gotta warm him up. Yeah, for sure. But I know him, so it's all good.
No, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, and I see. I mean, that's just great to even. I hate to say it, but it's just great to see, like, a father being active. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, that's kind of looked at like that's like an enigma, but it's really not. We see a lot of fathers that actually show up, but it's just great to continue to hear that so viewers can actually recognize, like, no, we got people that are actually present and doing those things, whether it be their son in basketball or their daughter in gymnastics, you know what I'm saying, and cheering them on both ways, but also providing that admonishment, praising them when necessary and things like that, but also really just trying to see them become that wholesome teammate, like you said, all around collectively, but also, growing to this human being that you want them to be, right? Absolutely. For the sake of society. So let's get into you, though. So give us a little bit about your upbringing. You from Milwaukee, correct? Born and raised. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing in terms of like education, family, and things like that.
Yeah, so born and raised here in Milwaukee. Parents divorced early. So my mom, she stayed on the north side. My dad actually moved to Franklin. Okay. So basically all I did was live. I only slept out in Franklin. You know what I mean? Everything was in the mill. I went to school in the mill, whatever. Educational wise, I actually went to a private Muslim school.
Got you.
So from K3 all the way to 8th grade. So funny story is that I actually did 8th grade twice.
Crazy.
Yeah, so like
on purpose.
On purpose. Yeah,
okay.
I would.
Got you.
I ain't flunk or nothing like that.
Right. We ain't judging.
So when I started school at the private school, I went from K3 to 1st grade. So I was always 2 years ahead.
So you didn't have to go to K4, K5.
I ain't do K4 or K5. I went straight to 1st grade. Boom. And as I got, as I was getting older, and hoops actually became more and more kind of, a vital part of my life.
Right.
And I was always shorter, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
same here.
Dang, like it got to be, or I was supposed to, at this point, I was supposed to graduate in 2003.
Gotcha.
Like if I would have, kept on that track. So I went to the private school, K3 through 8th grade. And then my aunt, she was the teacher at Fritchie Middle School.
Fritchie.
Yeah.
Fritchie.
So I end up graduating from the private school, then doing 8th grade again at Fritchie, and then by that time, high schools and stuff were coming, calling and whatnot, and ended up making my way to King, and King was shout out to Coach Guys. I actually was supposed to go to Dominican. And
what?
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Dominican. So my brother went to Dominican.
Got you.
So I shadowed him. I did every placement test, all that. Talked to Coach Wallersheim, who was there. Like I was in. And then one AAU tournament, Coach Guys was there, and I had a really good game. And he was coming to watch Dupree and Matt Goodwin, who was on my AAU team too.
Gotcha.
So he like, man, who is this little guy? You know what I mean? And it just so happened that that my dad was sitting next to Goody's pops.
Okay.
So he like, oh, this is dad right here. So then one thing led to another,
and there you go.
And here I am.
How did Watershine feel?
I mean, you know, it was tough. He
was
hurt. He was hurt a little bit, but it was what it was. I had 2 teammates that was going to Dominican, but then I had 3 teammates that was going to King.
Got you.
So it just knowing that, I mean, it couldn't lose either way.
Right,
you know
right.
Couldn't lose either way. I had my brother. My brother. He would have been a senior when I was a freshman.
Got you. So he been gone.
You know what I mean. But it all worked out, man. King was a great choice for me. Like you said, 2 state championships.
Right.
Co-captain on those teams. Just played with some unbelievable. We was talking about just teammates, man.
Right.
Just solid dudes, man. Dupree, Goody, Dixon, Jahi, like you know what I mean, like just ultimate competitors and teammates, and that played the game the right way, and that just showed me the ropes, man. So,
right.
Yeah.
And you actually reached that pinnacle, actually getting that state championship, man, which is huge. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people can say that.
No, facts.
Not a lot of people can say that. So after you, so you get ready to graduate from King.
Yep.
Were you already thinking about college in terms of out of state, in state? What was your decisions in regards to that?
Yeah, so I had some, like I said, when I graduated from King, I was 5'2", 123 pounds.
As a senior?
As a senior, bro. So like I think the record still holds, but I was the shortest at the time when we won state. I was the shortest person to score in a state championship game.
5'2" as a senior.
Yes. So like the storyline was because we played Appleton West.
Yep.
So Brian Butch was the 7-footer, and then I was like, so he was the tallest person in the tournament. I was the shortest, and we met up in a championship or whatever. So like, I think the record still holds, but yeah, I was 5'2", 123 pounds. So like, but yeah, I could hoop. You know what I mean? I could shoot. I shoot the leather off the ball.
Right.
Like I'm smart. Like, but I was just
cerebral.
So I had like preferred walk-on spots for UWGB.
Okay.
For UW Parkside. And then Stevens Point kind of came later in the game, so to speak. And then once I took a tour, my visit up there, toured the campus, met the team. Like they just had like just a winning culture too. You know what I mean? Actually, they won the national championship in 2004 and 2005.
Got you.
So they went back to back. But yeah, it was just seeing them and just knowing what I could bring.
Right.
It was a perfect match.
So it made sense.
It made sense.
So it made sense. Okay.
Yep.
So that's how you ended up at Stevens Point.
Yep.
And while you were there, what were you majoring in?
So I started out, I was going to major in communication.
Okay.
Because at the time I wanted to be like a sports anchor.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do communication, blah blah blah. Then I was like, for whatever reason, I don't know why I changed, but then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to sociology.
Okay.
Because my dad, he owned a social service agency at the time. So I'm like, well, I just this was 2000. I graduated in 2009. So like. The economy wasn't the greatest, so I'm like,
what?
I'm like, well, I know I have a job when I come out in this. So I switched my major to sociology, minored in psychology, with the intent of taking over my dad's social service agency, at some point.
Right.
So yeah, it was cool though. It was like Stevens Point was a great. 5 years I did a victory lap.
Same here.
Because I redshirted, my first year. But yeah, it was cool, man. No complaints. Stevens Point is still the lifelong bonds. You know how that is. Man.
Still got them.
We actually just had our alumni day. So every year, second or third weekend in January, we always get back and they bring us to a game and introduce us at halftime and kind of roll out the red carpet for us. So,
for real?
Yeah,
That's
it's
love.
Dope. It's dope. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like one of Stevens Point's taglines for the basketball program is "Proud of our past, passionate about our future." Yeah. So. Yeah, it's tough.
So. Like obviously I had Corey on here and he was up there too.
Yep.
And he was saying it was a difference from being in Milwaukee up there. Did you recognize the difference as well?
Yeah.
Especially back you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was I think when I got up there in 2004, I think the percentage of not even African Americans, I think just minorities, period. I think the student population was like 4%. You know what I mean? It was like 4%, just minorities, period. But you had your core, who you kind of stuck around,
right.
Guys on the team, they had a pipeline program from Lane Tech in Chicago.
Okay.
So a lot of like Hispanic students and African American students, they would
come to there. Okay, kind of like a feeder program type thing. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, and then another guy, one of the counselors, he was a longtime counselor. Shout out to Scott West. Like he was very, very huge in getting like multicultural students, in and retaining them too.
Okay.
You know how it is. One thing to get them in there, but
another
after that
thing
first
to keep
year,
them,
keep
man.
them, for 4 or 5 years. So, but he was very influential as well. But yeah, no, it was a culture shock, bro. It was a culture shock. Even being, I feel like I'm pretty versed,
right? And King was kind of diverse, right?
King was diverse. King was like 60% black, and then everything else. But like, and then playing ball or whatnot. But then once I got up there, it was like it was night and day, bro. Because it was, I mean, because But what I liked about it was that like, as shocked as they were, or as shocked as I was, they were too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, all right, like, I ain't know nothing about no cabin. Like they talk about, oh yeah, we're going to our lake house, we're going to a cabin, we're going to this, and I'm like,
what is this?
What is this? You know what I mean? Like, so like it was kind of a give and take. You know what I mean? So
both
like
sides learning.
I was able to share. It's not just what you see on. This wasn't no social media,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So like Facebook was just coming out.
Right, but you had the news was the main outlet for media.
And then you had if they had like satellite, they would have BET.
Corey said the same thing. Dude, listen, having BET to be like
the baseline for black people.
Insane, bro. Insane.
Nuts.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, it was good for them to see, okay, like he's just like us. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
And for me to say, oh yeah, like they just like us.
Right.
They they want to hoop, they want to have fun.
Right.
They like girls. They
right.
We all the same.
And that's super important, bro. Especially in terms of like perspectives, right? So, and being able to like talk and be amongst a community of people that you may not be familiar with, but to have those conversations, those dialogue, and kind of like live amongst each other like you were up there. Yep. So just like to kind of like cast away some of those stereotypical things that they may have thought, or those and think about it, we all have some kind of prejudice towards people, especially if we don't know. Yep. You don't know better, right? Yep. So, man, that's crazy, just to hear that, because I've never been up there.
Yeah. I mean,
I've been to Oshkosh.
It's another hour northwest of Oshkosh. So it's literally like in the center of it's central Wisconsin, center of the state. Yeah, so like all the little, like when I be talking to people now and they be like, "Oh, I'm from a smaller town," and I'm like let me know. I'm sure I went to school
right out that way.
I know somebody from the smaller town, like,
right?
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's literally in the center of Wisconsin.
Man. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just glad that you kind of like got away a little bit too, though, because if we, a lot of times it's not to cast any disparages on like Milwaukee or anything like that. But a lot of times if you stay here, you don't know what else is out there. Fact. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you even went up there and seen that, then you traveling, playing ball and stuff, you get to see different things. And I want that a lot for like our kids and our students, right? To be able to see that. So that's interesting to hear that from you after I just heard it record. Man, that's crazy. But so you end up majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology, right? How did you end up falling into entrepreneurship, or what did you do after graduating? How about that?
So initially after graduation, I did work for my pops.
Okay.
And like I said, my goal was to take over the family business. But as I started working in a business, like pops, he wasn't the type that just gonna be like, all right, come on, like I'm gonna bring you up to the top. Like, no, he literally like had me doing like every position. Throughout. Like sometimes I'll be maintenance. Sometimes I'll be answering the phone. Sometimes I'm planning trips. Sometimes I'm leading meetings. You know what I mean?
Got so you like doing a lot of everything. All of it.
Yeah, QuickBooks. I'm doing bank recs, like all this stuff. So, Pops really showed me the ropes in that sense. But at one point I was a treatment foster care specialist.
Okay.
So I had a caseload of I had 5 homes, a total of like 12 kids. So I'm every week I'm going into the homes, checking on making sure the foster parents are, up to code, doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I had a 8-year-old that was on my caseload, and like in treatment and foster care, the ultimate goal is reunification with the bio parents. So he was having his first unsupervised visit in a long time with his bio mom. So he had to visit. He had to visit, and like basically bio mom like just went crazy. Like she lost her stuff. You know what I mean? Like went crazy on him. Ended up beating him with a like the belt buckle and knocking out his front teeth. And like that was kind of like the last straw where it was just like, Pops, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Because it was already starting to just weigh on me, just like physically, emotionally, psychologically, like because it's like it's hard to just turn that stuff off at 5, 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? Where it's like you're hearing all these different stories, and it was like I said, it was just weighing on me. So Pop's always been a entrepreneur. He's always preached do for self. And my mom, she's a retired mental health therapist. So like towards the end of her career, like she had her own practice as well. Okay. So that entrepreneurial spirit coupled with helping people, it's always been in me. Working within it's called New Horizon Center. So working at New Horizon, I was able to really like learn myself and like learn that like I'm a point guard at heart, right? So I love helping people, but giving assists, right? Giving assists, but just not in that capacity. So absolutely, kind of simultaneously, my brother Q was coming back from Dallas, and he was like, "Man, what we gonna do? Like, I know you in this, kind of this, work crisis right now. Right. Like, what we gonna do?" So, we've always been, stand up dudes. You know what I mean? Like playing ball, treating people the right way. Right. Had a good network, so we started Young Enterprise Society in 2012. Actually, we started as a social outlet for young professionals. Okay. So like in 2012. In 2012, okay. Yeah. So what we saw was that, we know our city, especially back then, it was very, very segregated. So you had like black people party on the north side, white people party downtown, Hispanics people party, on the south side. You know what I mean? So like that's how it was. But given our network, we were able to like bring everybody to a lot of those venues that ultimately, historically wouldn't let black people in. You know what I mean? Crazy. So like our first party that we threw, or event that we threw, we had like 350 people there. Like no pat downs, no searches, nothing. And like that was kind of like that light bulb moment where we like, all right, like
we got something here.
But
that's due to y'all, I'm sure, to y'all relationships with people. For sure. The fact that y'all are able to bring
huge, yeah. And that's what I preach. Even when I was, just at a school on Wednesday, like I was talking to the kids, and like I preached like the relationship piece is huge. You know what I mean? Because like just I'm walking through. It was Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy, and like the AD is somebody who I played ball with, his cousin. You know what I mean? And then the person who is the CEO, our kids went to the same daycare together.
See what I'm saying?
So like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? It's like so many different. Now I'm walking through the hall. I'm going to the restroom. I see another guy who graduated with me at King. And I'm like, oh, Aaron, I didn't know you was working here. Yeah, I'm in the college and career readiness program, blah, blah, blah. So, so just a lot of those things just played in. And so we started, Yes, and in 2012 as a social outlet for young professionals. And then, we knew we didn't want to be party promoters, and, but we were selling, we were selling merch as well. For sure, We don't want to be party promoters. We don't want to be, fashion designers. Right. So we were like, how can we be more influential and be more constructive? So what we did was we had a friend, rest in peace. His name was King Rowe. Okay. So he was a barber. He was like, well, I can cut, kids' hair, and then y'all can come in and kind of just, give them motivational talks. So he's like, all right, bet. So that started our haircuts for kids. So we started that, and when we were,
this is all in 2012.
This was early 2012. Okay. Yep. So we started that, and like when we were being in those settings, we noticed that the students were still being taught the old, outdated ways and information that like we were taught. Basically how to be a factory worker.
How to be a worker.
You know what I mean?
Working till you
but not really how to be an independent thinker. So that spurred out our STEAM program. So we like, all right, like we love technology. Like let's show them some of these technologies that are changing the job force and that are being innovative and on the cutting edge. So, we started our STEAM programming early 2013.
Okay.
And since that time, we've taught over 5,600 students in 8 different states through that program. Beautiful. So, just exposing them to the the latest and greatest technologies, and then showing them like real world examples of like how they can be successful and like be entrepreneurs around these technologies.
That's crazy. And one thing you mentioned was you recognizing that a lot of these kids or students were being taught like the old way, the old adages.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times, like you said, we grew up during that time. So during that time, it was a lot, I think, and shout out to our moms and pops and elders and things like that. But I think they were going through a time of like, not complacency or content, but more so like, this is the safest way. I don't want to make any risk. And it was like more so like survive. I'm surviving. I'm going to make it.
Yep.
I'm going to retire at 60, whatever, after putting in 25, 30 years, and that's going to be it. And then it became our group of individuals who like, okay, working is cool, but it's like, I want my time. I want my freedom. I want to do something that I enjoy.
Yep.
And then you were able to create this alongside with your brother, something that's that was different and a different way of thinking. And exposing the kids to a different way of thinking, especially our inner city youth, man.
Yeah.
And I think when you were talking about like how the mental aspect kind of weighed on you when you were dealing with like the foster children and things like that, and the placement and things like that, like I feel that just as from an educator standpoint, right? It's hard to turn it off.
Yep.
But then it's like, oh my God, it's like, what do I do? Do I sulk in it or do I try to make change? And I think that's what you end up doing with, like you started to make change. And I think it all came from, not only with your mom and pops, but also the things that you went through. Yep. So now today, as you continue to do that, like, how do you feel about having accomplished that?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, just looking back on it, like as I was, just talking, I'm like, 2012.
2012, like, that's why I asked you.
13 years, that's 13 years. So, and when we started it, like we've always, like STEM was just kind of becoming somewhat of a buzzword.
Right.
But we've always said STEAM. So we've always included the art because we know that that's the purest form of creative expression. So like we've always included art within our programming, whether that's visual art, creative art, whatever. And just to see like how innovative we were 13 years ago. And now STEAM is, and it's great. Like,
it's everywhere.
But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? Now it's like, you can't go to a school or a school district without them. They got STEAM coordinators. They got STEAM directors,
makerspaces.
They got 3D printers, everything. But like, we were on the cutting edge and the forefront of that. Like we literally were bringing the technology. Like we bringing 3D printers to them. We're bringing drones to them. We're bringing microcomputers to them. Like
back then.
So it's like to see the transition and to see how it's, we like to feel like we had a little bit, a lot of bit to do with it. But it's cool. It's cool now. Like, because ultimately, like the kids need it. The youth need it. Like that, like it's a different job for us. It's a different, it's gonna be different, occupations out there.
Yes.
So we know how technology is. So it's ever changing. Last week's technology gonna be different than this week's. Like it's constantly changing.
Just that quick.
So you gotta be, you gotta stay innovative. You gotta stay on the forefront of it. So I mean, just thinking about that journey, and the close to 6,000. Students that we've been able to help and reach and teach and just to see them come back, you know what I mean? So like over the years, like we got kids who we started, teaching them in middle school when they was, 5th, 6th grade. And they graduated from high school, they in college.
You got to see all that.
And you get to see that transition. And now it's like a pipeline. Now, we work with, middle and high school students, with the STEAM program. And in 2018, we started what's called the Blueprint.
Okay, I've seen something like that. Yeah.
So that's our business accelerator for adults with tech startups.
And that's what cohorts.
Yep, cohorts. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at there on the website. Okay.
Yep. So we got we had started, got the momentum. We had been doing the STEAM programming for 5 or 6 years at this point. So we like, all right, how can we tap into the adult demographic? And we started. It was initially called the Executive Blueprint, but then we just changed and dropped the Executive and just called it the Blueprint.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a 12-week cohort. Excuse me, for adults with tech startups. So like whether that's any tech, we've had fintech, med tech, health tech, sports tech, ed tech, like any tech sectors. So we've graduated 10 cohorts with a total of 85 or 86 companies have gone through, and we're able to not only give them that training, but then give them the entrepreneurial training, but then some educational training, some tech training, and then strategically pair them up with mentors as well. And then at the completion of it, they're able to get up to $20,000 in grant funding. You know what I mean? And it's like that's your money. Like we don't take take an equity stake or nothing within the company. So it's like, you want to take the money and pay 3 months up on your rent or your mortgage, go for it.
And
if
do
you
it.
want to reinvest and put it back in the business, go for it. But you put the time, and now you're at a place where where you've earned that.
I just and just listen to that. One thing that I appreciate from you just enlightening me on that is the fact that you started with the kids. And then you still brought it up and you didn't forget about the adults. Yep. And obviously we know we need to really, really be investing in our kids, but it just shows that whole efflorescing like transition, like you said, from middle school, high school to these adults. We're not leaving them out there unstuck, right? Yep. We're still providing them with resources and things like that. And I'm sure that you utilize, like you say, you work with different companies. So those companies like help be like advisors and mentors, or what are they doing? What are their stake in it?
So the companies that go through, so the companies that go through our program, they're you got everything from like we have one company called Tip-A-Script. So basically like what his company is essentially is like a cash app for like medical payments. Okay. So like that's like the short of it. But like, I get it. So like that's a health tech company. Then you got people who have gone through Naisha Stone with Carved in Stone. She's an editor, so she's doing that. Beautiful. So it's a number of different companies that go through, and we're grant funded from that program. So early on we had some larger corporations and companies that funded us as well, but we know about that DE&I, how that's changing. Yeah. But yeah, no, we still making it work.
Making it work for sure.
Yeah, making it work, yeah, for sure. Because I mean, our Yes's mission is to mobilize resources.
Gotcha.
It's always been that. So if we have something, we're going to share it. And now those resources come in the form of new technologies, new information, programs. Obviously capital, like that's a huge thing, right? The biggest one. So yeah, and we just try to stick to our mission and make sure that we're aligning ourselves and partnering with people who have the same visions and values. Got
you. And so like as you continue to work the programming and things like that, how do you and your brother continue to stay sharp and stay up to date on you guys' things in regards to what you guys are providing for your services?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's something that we've been instilled in us from a young age. It's like seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. So it's like you're constantly learning. We know that we don't know everything. You know what I mean? So like as we want to stay innovative, we got to make sure we're learning and we're staying on top of our stuff too. Right. You know what I mean? Because we like I said, we can't. Yeah, we have a curriculum, we have a foundation, but it's changing. Like it's changing. So we got to make sure. Yeah, we got to make sure we're staying, on our P's and Q's, and just it's just a constant kind of thirst and want. To better yourself and constantly feeding your mind, right? And just whether that's going to seminars or
that's what I was gonna say.
YouTube University,
Man,
you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of knowledge, and like either that's paid and or free. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of ways that you can just keep yourself and your mind sharp so that you can stay on top of things. For sure.
And I think that self edification and education is super important. I think a lot of people sometimes feel as if once they get something going, they think that the learning stops. And like you just said, we still adapt.
Yep.
Our curriculum changes because it changes based on the times and what's needed, and if something new comes up. And I think that's a huge point. That's a huge gem that you just dropped, because I think sometimes when people have done things successfully and they see that it works, they allow it to stay and stagnate when we should really be trying to evolve. And then you question, like, what's the motive then? Like, is it the fact that, oh, I'm doing this and I'm able to do this, or am I really still trying to be, a student and provide what I learned to the people that I'm trying to serve?
No,
so,
facts.
And then, so moving as a follow-up question. So, like, as you guys are being entrepreneurs, right, and you're going through that, what has been, like, one of your biggest challenges and one of your biggest successes?
Yeah, the challenges is.
I know I know you ran into something. Right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think a lot of it is like we be in our own way. We be in our own way, bro. Like, is
it like second guessing?
I wouldn't even say it's a doubt thing. I think it's more so just like a. And when I say we, I'm speaking. I'm speaking to, like, our people.
For sure.
Like black people.
Got you.
I think it's more so in Milwaukee, what I see is that it's a lot of competition. And it's a lot of silos.
Yes.
And it's like we don't it's a lot, it's so much competition, and it's like we don't understand, like, it should be collaboration over competition.
That's all I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying to figure it out. That's why this podcast exists. I'm trying to figure it out, Khalif.
So I think historically and systematically, use air quotes, but the powers that be, they make it to where I don't want to necessarily partner with you, Walt, because you got something going and I got something going, and I'm gonna keep my little piece of the pie. You know what I mean? And you keep your piece of the pie.
I don't want you to do better than me. Like, I only help you out so far.
But we don't understand that, like, okay, I got a pie, you got a pie. Let's combine ingredients and make a huge pie, and everybody can eat.
That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad you took this turn, because I legit, what's your motive is really about that. Because I looked around, Leaf, and I was just like, man, like, we got these different organizations in the community, or, deemed community organizations for community advocacy for kids, for adults, and things like that. And I'm thinking, like, man, like, has anybody worked together? Has anybody collabed together? Or is it just, this is what I do, this is what I do, I don't know what they're doing over there, but this is, I'm going to shine in here, I want this to be in front. And I ran into that before when I was actually trying to help a project, and I was like, dang, like, I don't even really want the notoriety. I just really want to work with you in partnership. If we could make some money, because obviously livelihood is important, right?
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, if I'm a community person and you're a community person, and like you said, we got pies together, we got pies and things like that. You got your business. So I'm willing to learn. Why can't we collaborate in a space where it's like, it's not about what we get from it, it's what we do from it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, for the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I'm glad that you're talking about that, because I always wonder why there's a lack of collaboration and so much competition. And I get it, healthy competition in certain aspects. And obviously, from a sports perspective, right? Cool. Like, when we're on the court, absolutely, I'm trying to bite your head off, but as an individual in society, we should be working together. Yeah. In a, you know what I'm saying? I'm not where I have to step on your toes and jump in your, like, well, you should be doing this. But no, like, how can we work this together? How can we align together and bring this beautiful thing for the sake of everybody in our community, if we're really for the community?
Exactly. And I think that's where it gets a little shaky. You know what I mean? Because it's like people say, or you could talk all you want.
Yes.
But your actions gotta show.
Actions speak louder than words, and it's always have.
Always. So it's like, yeah, you could say, oh yeah, we're a community-based organization. We do this, we do this, we do this. Okay, then why haven't you tried to reach out and partner with this other organization? Because, but yet you trying to reinvent the wheel when this organization already has this infrastructure in place. And you know what I mean? So and then that sets things back. It's like, all right, like this organization already is doing this. Why would you try to start something that ain't even in your lane?
Right.
Ain't even in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
But yet you feel like I'm gonna try to do this just so that I don't have to bring this organization in. And a lot of it be so petty. A lot of it be just like we talked about relationships earlier. A lot of it be from high school stuff.
Say it again.
A lot of this stuff, like it be from high school. It's like, bro, we down there 50 or down there 40. Like, come on, man. Like,
let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go. And we were kids, and you sociology and psychology, and we don't want to beat a dead horse, but we know. As teenagers, we were impulsive. We did things off of the basic premise of the knowledge that we had based on those instincts that we knew. We became logical. Science says what, around 24, 25, right? Why am I still holding on and harboring some feelings that something that happened to me on a basketball team or in a classroom or over a relationship, a friendship? I'm tired of it.
Yeah, it's sick. It's really sick, and it takes us away from being able to achieve our full potential.
Handicaps us
as a people, and I mean, there's no way that like we got one black-owned gas station in the state. One, the one on 8th and Atkinson. Shout out to Sonia and Marvin. Like they just bought it. It kind of turned hands a couple times, but. Like, there's no way why we should only have one gas station. Like, that's just one example of how we don't come together as a people like we should.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be negative or whatnot.
For sure.
There are some people who.
But the facts are the facts.
But the facts are the facts. Like, we should be way more ahead than what we are.
Right. Because
if you look at other cultures, and races, like we're lacking,
and they pool their resources.
They
pool them
for sure.
I'm trying to figure out why we don't pool them. I don't believe in gatekeeping.
Yep.
If I know something, regardless if I struggle for it or not, I don't want you to have to struggle for it. You understand what I'm saying? So if I'm fortunate enough, or if you're fortunate enough to make it to the top, in essence, just for the sake of sake. It's our responsibility to send the elevator back down, right?
Absolutely.
To bring other people up. Yep. Like, why wouldn't we do that and pool our resources? Oh, no, Khalif, we got this. Boom, Joe Tucker got Dreamline Social. Yep. Let's pop up. Let's support that. Yep. We got the grocery store right there off of, it's actually my uncle's. I'm hating that I can't remember the name of it, but he got the black-owned grocery store right on Fond du Lac, where Fond du Lac, Fond du Lac and Sherman and like Roosevelt all interesting. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's like, I don't know, man. So for entrepreneur, like you see that one of the challenges as far as collaboration.
For sure, absolutely, yeah. I would say that's the biggest challenge, and then obviously the access, and exposure piece,
right?
We don't know what we don't know, so like that's part of the reason why we do what we do, and especially like with like the blueprint. I'll speak kind of directly to that is just providing those underrepresented founders with the confidence, the tools, for them to be and the confidence, the resources for them to be successful. Because some of these companies come to us and they're literally like early stage, like back of the napkin type stuff. Where like they might be at a restaurant or back at a bar or something, and they just like
came up with an idea
and they just write it down real quick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like as part of our cohort, like we have the idea validation cohort, which is 12 weeks, where it's like, okay, like is this back of the napkin idea even viable? Like,
something we can sustain.
Is it even sustainable? And then the next part is the market validation. So we're just providing that access and exposure because I feel like education and entrepreneurship serve as equalizers. You know what I mean? So like it would, like those two things have the potential to level the playing field.
Absolutely.
If done right.
If done right.
And
like you said, it goes back to that access, right? Whether it be access to like the education, the resources, the capital.
Yep.
I think it was some lady she made a comment where she said like black people are over mentored and underfunded. You know what I mean?
So hold on, you got that's a bar.
Yeah, that's what she said. Because a lot of mentorships and stuff like that, but are the mentors providing like what you guys are doing, providing them the access to the resources, to the education, and to the capital? Like you said at the end of the cohort, you got access to up to $20K in grant funding, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And like you said, no equity stake.
Nope.
This is your money. Now, we provided you the cohort with all this information, these strategies, this insight. When you get that money, are you going to employ it and apply it based on the principles that you learned? So, yeah, man, that's real. That's real. I'm glad we was able to cover that, man, because I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I need more. You know what I'm saying?
We all are, bro. We all are.
Yeah, man. So, just listening to you just passionately speak about that. Who are like some of your biggest influences in regards to whether it be basketball, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be just the man you are?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, I mean, it's gotta be my dad.
Gotcha.
You know, my dad just like we always just jam. Like, he was a college athlete. Like he ran track at University of Minnesota.
Okay.
And then for him, becoming an entrepreneur himself. He just always very just even keel, rational, like cool as a fan, not gonna get flustered. But he gonna keep it real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he gonna keep it real. And as I've gotten older, our relationship has become more of like don't get me wrong, that's still pops.
No,
but
for
like
sure.
it's become more of like a older brother.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
that
mentor type of relationship. Friendship. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I could talk to him about anything. Literally like relationships, financial advice, like, you know what I mean? Like business stuff, like entrepreneurship, like kids, like it's like that. Yeah, he's definitely been my biggest influence. Somebody who I've always looked up to, just admired his work ethic. Just seeing a black man put on a suit Monday through Friday.
How powerful is that, bro?
You know what I mean? Like my that's my first, like one of my first images of Pops is in a suit. Like one of my youngest, one of the pictures that I'm like he's holding me and he got on a suit. You know what I mean? So like Monday through Friday, he grinded at the social service agency. Like it was opened December 2nd, 1985. I was born July 22nd, 1986.
You 22nd?
So like, yeah, 22nd.
I'm 28.
There we go. See? There we go.
Keep going. Go ahead, man.
But I literally like grew up at the group home, at a social service agency. So I saw how he grind. I saw how he worked. I saw how he interacted, with his employees. I saw how he used the same voice and tone when he was greeting the maintenance guy than when he was greeting his secretary or his business partner. It was no change. So now just those small things, like I take that with me now too. So if I go into a building or I go into some, like, it ain't no change. Like people are people. People are people. So I think that was one of the biggest things that I took from him. And he was very huge on like words make people. So like that, and that's something that to this day like just really sticks to me. You know what I mean?
You know how powerful that is.
Pops was my hugest influence for sure.
That's so powerful, man. And like it's as I'm listening to you, man, I'm kind of like I'm a little envious, in a healthy way though.
Gotcha.
And I'm not gonna belabor the point. I'm not gonna soak in the woe is me, I didn't have a dad and all that. You know what I'm saying? My pops was around, but that example is something I've always yearned for, and I always had to try to like hodgepodge it and look at it through the lens of like my friends that have fathers. So I have to look at Billy's father or Harry's father or Elliot's father, you know what I mean? And try to figure out, okay, I want this piece. My brother-in-law, like I'm gonna take that, I like that. You know what I mean? And hodgepodge, but you had this upstanding man that was able to provide this solid example of stewardship and just, altruistic, and a man of matter of fact, but also just like even keeled and calm. Yeah. And it helped. I'm sure it helped you in a lot of situations in regards to like how to handle stuff, especially when things go awry.
For sure.
And I also think of like the students and the young men that you come in contact with when you're speaking to them, and how many of them may lack that. You know what I mean? And may need that and yearn for that, especially when we think about our city, right? So like, the power of a father, man, is I think is sometimes like overlooked.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
And it really shows like it's super pivotal in like our overall becoming of a man, right? Because at a certain point, we all need our moms, right? Absolutely. But at a certain point, 8, 9, you start turning moms off a little bit. You need to hear that man and see that man, right?
Yep. No, and I mean, you hit it around the head, bro. Like I don't know who I would be without my pops. You know what I mean? I thank God every day, you know, for not only my pops but my mom,
right?
as
For
well,
sure.
but like, but really having that father figure. You know what I mean? Like you said, when I got to be 10, 11, like them whoopings don't hurt no more. Like my like I wasn't no bad kid, but like, you know, like I was a kid.
No, for
like,
sure, for sure.
But like that ain't mine. I'm good. Like I'm cool on.
I'm cool on that.
I'm cool on the spankings.
Right.
I need like you said. I need that authoritative like voice, that figure. You know that man. That man. You know that discipline. It's a certain level of discipline.
Right.
That mom just can't give. Like
Right.
when you get to a certain age, it just is what it is. Like, cause I mean, mom's a nurturer at heart, essentially. So like,
can't shake it.
It just is what it is.
Right.
So you need that. So yeah, when I got to be 10, 11, I was like, yeah, I gotta go live with pops.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know,
I think what did I hear, Leaf? I heard that like obviously there has to be a balance, right? And we need, and like we said, when we get of a certain age, we definitely need that male figure, whether it be a father or like a coach or somebody got to step in, or an uncle or something like that, right? I think it was said that like when we get into situations as young boys or young men, our mothers are going to help us to do what feels good. And our fathers are going to help us think and be like, what makes sense? You know what I'm saying? Do what makes sense. And you got to live with the outcome. You know what I mean? So that's real.
Yeah. The emotion piece versus the logic.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and do you see that with a lot of kids, like in terms of like they more so act off of emotion?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just even, when I was coaching, like you can definitely tell, I won't say definitely, you could tell certain kids who didn't have a father or a positive male figure, like they just snap. Like very just short switch. You know what I mean?
Something
like anything
small.
something small just trigger. And it's like they're not really being like rational or logic. They're just acting off of emotion and instinct. And I don't know the reason why. I can guess that they didn't have,
I can assume it.
Father figure, but it's like, it was definitely evident.
For sure. And I know that now you say you've been going into the schools. I know you say you just went to Howard Fuller, and you say you're teaching things about, what specifically are you going into them, talking to the kids about now? Yeah, so now, at Howard Fuller, really focusing heavily on like life skills. Beautiful.
So the obviously the hard skills, those are one thing, but like more so the soft skills.
Yep.
Communication, etiquette, decorum, how to talk, all of those different
how to
things.
Listen.
How to listen. Yeah, man, how to talk. Yeah, exactly. How to listen. Huge. And then obviously, bringing in some entrepreneurial pieces, tech pieces, real estate. Just a lot of different topics that they like. You know what I mean? So like content creation, and a lot of those things. So health and wellness. Like we led a session on Wednesday on cleanliness and orderliness. You know what I mean? So
that's big.
And it's like, and then like I tasked them. I said, just start with one thing that you can clean up. Like whether that's your phone, your car, your locker, your house, your room.
Your room.
Just start with one thing.
Right.
Like just clean it up. Right. And just see how much more productive you're gonna be. How much more like lively you're gonna be. Cause like the world wants you to always be on the go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
acting chaos,
right? So like it's like as humans, we're not fit for that. We're not fit for that. So like it's just those types of topics that we that we hit on, and just kind of bringing it down to like where it's relatable for them,
which is important, right?
Yeah,
especially for the character building, because like what you're saying, like all the stuff that you are exposing them to is like, oh yeah, no, these are life things that you actually can end up doing, or you can apply. And like a small thing, like you said, clean up something, start with that and challenge them with that.
Yep.
Do you find that a lot of kids maybe that you come in contact with, or you just seen in past, do you find that they are like more so seeking an external reward as opposed to doing something intrinsically for themselves? Because school is super incentivized. Like, hey, right. You do this, we're gonna give you. You know what I mean? As opposed to like you, self enrichment. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep learning, and then I'm gonna give it to these people.
Yeah, I think it's external. It's external, and a lot of it has to do with just given the times that we're living in. Social media, it can be good, it can not be good, but I think for some of our youth that we come across, it's like they think everything is instant. That instant gratification.
Right.
It's like you can't microwave success.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But they want it that way.
But they want it that way because it's like they get on social media, they see these highlights. Like social media is just like Instagram is just one big highlight reel. You know what I'm saying? But like you don't see the practices, you don't see the behind the scenes work that took that person to post
get to that point.
Whatever it is. But people think that it can just it's supposed to just happen right away. So I think we need more of us to talk to the youth to let them know, like, no, like you have it within you.
Right.
Like, you should want to do it because you want to do it.
Thank you.
Not because of what you'll get or what the outside may perceive you.
Right.
So I think that's like the first level is like it's a lack of self-love. So like once you know who you are and kind of your purpose and why you're grounded and why you move the way that you move, then it's like I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. I'm doing this because I want to do it.
I want to do it.
I'm not doing this because Joe, Jim, or Jane gonna say something. Like, no, like I'm doing this because I want to do it.
Exactly.
Like, so, yeah, I think we gotta first like find that core. What's that North Star? Within you. Like, what's your guidance? Like, why do you do what you do?
Exactly, and I think it's and for a while, like even with the whole intrinsically motivated thing I was trying to do, it was like as a teacher, I was always trying to figure out like how do I tap into that? How do I pierce that student's soul to like get to it, to be like, I need you to do it for the sake of you, so you can be a better you. Yep. And you already have, like you said, you already got it inside of you, but how do I move all of that fluff out of there? Let's make you confident. Let's build you up. Let's encourage you, but I need you to encourage yourself. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to continue to be a mission for sure. And I'm glad that you were able to speak to that too. So what's next for Yes?
Yeah, so we'll be having another cohort of the Blueprint later this year, and then we'll be doing. So we host Summerfest Tech, their pitch competition.
I meant to ask you about that.
Yep. So we host their pitch competition. So actually have a call tomorrow with them. But yeah, we'll be hosting the Summerfest Tech pitch competition again. That'll be in late June. Back in the schools doing the STEAM programming.
Got you.
And just keeping it going, man.
Just keep on.
Mobilizing the resources, man. Filling the voids where we see them.
How did how did you get with Summerfest? Like, how did that partnership come about?
Oh man, I'm trying to think how it did. I'm trying to.
Because you've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, we've been. Yeah, this will be our 5th year doing it. So we started doing the Blueprint in 2018.
Okay.
And the lady who runs Summerfest Tech, she reached out. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. She reached out to us and like just wanted us to kind of come in and like be on like a planning committee.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, cool. So like the first year we did the planning committee, and then they were like, oh, we like your ideas. The group who put it on last year don't want to do it. Would you guys like to do it? We like, yeah, for sure.
Right.
So like, year over year we've had, just tremendous success. We've done it had 1 year at the 3rd Ward. We've done it, the last couple years at Potawatomi.
Okay.
So, we've had over, I think last year we had about 450, close to 500 people in the room.
It's crazy.
And, get close to like 200 applicants, and then we bring 8 of those applicants in to pitch. Yep. And then they're able to get, through our sponsor, Molson Coors. The prize money is $50,000. So
got you.
First place gets 25,000, and then we kind of break it down from there. So like 25, 10, 5, and then kind of chop it up. So if you get selected,
right,
you definitely you'll at least get your trip paid.
Got you.
Something. You're gonna get like, like 2 G's or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's dope. It's dope.
And then the pitches, like, are you sitting on a panel and things like that?
So we
have a panel.
No, yeah, we have a panel. Yeah. So as part of our production, or like, being those people who put it together, we select the judges. Yeah. So we get, we've had, VCs, we've had older people,
got you.
So like the whole spectrum. We had,
right, a diverse panel.
For the most, people from African American Chamber of Commerce all the way to chief innovator officers, chief technology officers. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's a nice partnership that we got. So shout out to Lena over there at Summerfest.
Right. And shout out to those brave souls that get up there and pitch them ideas in front of all them people, man.
It ain't easy.
I can only imagine. I went to a pitch thing with Teens Grow Greens. I went to go see one of my mentees.
Okay.
And I ended up seeing like a former student. And boy, they got to get up there and do that. I can get up in public speak a little bit, but boy, when I gotta pitch something and I'm trying to get some money,
it can get spooky.
Right. But I guess it could be like a good nervousness too, right? Because it's like you got to put on for yourself. Yeah. So, all right, my final question, man. What's your motive?
Man, my motive, man. We started it, and I guess we'll end it, man. My motive is to leave a legacy. My motive is to leave a legacy, and like we talk about. When we hear legacy, sometimes we automatically think about like financial, right?
All the time,
right? But it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I do want to leave.
For sure.
I want to create, generational wealth, for my kids and leave a legacy. But I think a lot of it has to do with like that those relationships, that bond,
reputation.
That reputation. There you go. That reputation. You know what I mean? Because it's like we talked about my pops, like. It's still people like, oh, Alamine, oh, wait, you Salim's son? You Salim's son? You know what I mean? It's like, and if my dad wasn't who he was, it'd be like, oh, you Salim's son. It'll be a different tone. You know what I mean?
Because there's like, honor in the name, right?
Honor in the name. So it's like, so that's where I want to lead. Like that's my motive, is to leave that legacy. So when my son and my daughter, as they get older, people be like, oh man, like, God forbid something happens to me, but it's like they know who I am.
And people will look after your kids based on your name, man.
Facts. So yeah, so my motive is to leave a everlasting legacy, not only mainly for my kids,
right?
Just because I'm selfish,
sure.
I'm gonna be selfish in that realm, but directly for my kids, but then like just for the city, the state,
yes, community impact, for sure,
in the world, for people to be like, oh yeah, Khalif, like he was a good dude. Like he was that guy. Like he was on the forefront of entrepreneurship,
right,
education, STEAM. So
right,
leaving that foundation, that legacy, for sure.
Absolutely, and I 100% agree with that. Obviously people think financial, but I think it's all about your name.
Yeah,
it's honoring your name, and you actually have a meaning for your name, right?
Yeah, yep. So Khalif means leader, and then El-Amin actually means the trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
Yeah, trustworthy. Yep.
I looked that up, my boy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I try to gotta live by it. And that's one thing that I preach to my kids is like my son, his name is Nasir. He's one who brings victory. And then obviously same last name than my daughter Amina. So like she's got the trustworthy one, trustworthy. So she
right.
double. She double trustworthy. So
right.
It's like really saying like, okay, it's just not a name or a label. Like this is who you are.
Yes.
Like this, like we just didn't pick these names out of a hat and like kind of say, oh yeah, this sounds good.
Right.
Like no, like there's meaning in the name.
It holds weight, man. And it's honoring the name.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. But before we get out of here, I know a lot of people know you and things like that, but where can they find you? Where can they look you up and things you got going on?
Yeah. So social media, I'm pretty heavy on Instagram.
IG.
Yeah, Instagram is Khalif El-Amin 10. So KHALIFELAMIN 10. I'm not really on X. Facebook, you can find me Khalif El-Amin with the hyphen in there. KHALIFEL-AMIN. Yeah, man. You know.
And don't forget, Leaf with the Legends, the pod, man.
Yeah, you find, my bad. Yeah,
plug the pod, man. Plug the pod, man.
So we talked about, collaboration over competition. I got a podcast as well.
Yes.
Leaf with the Legends podcast.
Yes.
Find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that, wherever you find your podcast, we there. So Leaf with the Legends podcast, I started that October 10th, 2023. Yeah, 2023. So yeah, so I'm about 35, 36 episodes in. So just highlighting individuals doing, exceptional work in entrepreneurship, business, and sports.
Yes, absolutely. You can't leave without plugging that.
Man, you're right. I'm tripping. Yeah, Leaf with the Legends podcast.
Leaf with the Legends. So make sure you check him out on Instagram. Check out the podcast for sure. I think you had Jalen Johnson on there. Who else you had on there that I watched?
I recently had Travis Diener.
I think I watched the Diener one.
Yeah, I had Dupree, my boy Alan Hansen.
Al, my boy Al. Man, I ain't seen Al in a minute. Shout out Lefty Al.
Yeah, that's my dog. That's my dog. So yeah, just trying to give people their flowers while they can still spell.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for coming through,
no
man.
doubt, bro.
It was a dope conversation. We always have good conversations anyway, but I really appreciate you for coming through and spending some time with me. I know you got a lot going on and things like that, but it's just great to hear about it and to learn a little bit more about it. And I almost feel like bad for me not being educated on myself and doing my own, taking the initiative on myself. So I'm placing some accountability back on me too.
We good.
But I really appreciate you, man.
Man, appreciate you, brother. No, this was dope.
No, for sure. And until next time, what's your motive?